What's going on YouTube? You joined me in my garden. We went out earlier to film this video, but we realised that the wind was too strong, so we're going to redo it in the garden. This is my video on 5 tips for spring carp fishing. My tip number 1 is Zigs. I love using Zigs. I use them all year round. Well, no, it's a lie. I don't use them in winter. A lot of people do, but I don't. But come spring, it's pretty much all I use. You got to remember when it's coming into spring, the carp are kind of waking up, getting their senses, and they're heading for warmer water because they need to get their body temperature up for spawning, which is the main event in their life. So with a zig, you don't know if the fish is sitting on the bottom or sitting on the top. But fishing multiple zigs, say I'll always have it on 2 rods, I can cover quite a lot of water and intercept the carp on their way to whether it's the shallow water or a different part of the lake. I'm sure most of you know what a zig rig is and how it works. So I've kind of just mocked something up for you and put it in my fish tank. So you can see I've got the lead on the bottom, and this is some zig line. And it comes up to a pop-up. Obviously I don't have a hook on it because my fish are in there. And what you do is you can set your depth. So you can set all different kinds of lengths. So you could be 3 foot, you could be 10 foot, depending on how deep the lake is. And what I tend to do is fishing 2 rods, I'll have them at different depths. And then every hour or so, I can adjust it. The easiest way to do this is to use a adjustable zig. I think most manufacturers do one. I've got a Korda one, a large one, but what I've always say to people is make sure you have binoculars, because the way you work it, you cast it out and you wind it all the way up to the top till you see your hook bait, and then wind it down, kind of going foot by foot, and yeah, kind of get the desired depth. I'll jot it down in a notebook and fish for say a few hours. If I don't get anything, lower it. And sometimes it can be the case of lowering it a foot or raising it a foot, and then you're onto the fish. So it's a really effective way of fishing. But yeah, I thought I'd add this in for you so you can kind of have a look and see the way that it works. Obviously I've just tied that on there just as so it can show you, so I can show you how it's suspended in mid-water. But yeah, there you go. Tip number 2, the depth of the lake and where to fish, the location or the swim that you're fishing. What's the depth? I, in spring, will tend to find the shallower parts of the lake because when the sun hits, the water warms up faster, bringing the carp in. Whether that's still fishing the zig or you're fishing a bright pop-up on the bottom. Tip number 3. This is quite an important one. It's the colour of your bait. The match the hatch, the kind of thing, it does work in spring, but the fish are waking up, they're still a little bit dopey. So if you can draw them in with a bright hook bait, yellows, pinks, whites, that can be the difference of getting a bite and not. Whereas in summer, using the bright hook baits, they don't always work because the carp are a bit more switched on. So that is my number 3. Tip number 4. This I utilise throughout the whole year and all my fishing. It's being mobile. So especially with springtime, the fish are moving. If the water temperature has got to say 10 degrees, they're moving around. But you still got to locate them. Whereas in summer, you know they're circulating the lakes all the time. But springtime, utilise being mobile. So my final tip, tip number 5, is bait and how much you should put in. I don't think you should be putting kilos and kilos of bait out because the carp, all they care about now is getting their body temperature, raising it and spawning. They're not worried about filling up on food. That's for the summertime. So I think small packages of bait, if you're fishing on the bottom and you're fishing a solid bag, a small little package, attractive, using glugs, high vis hook baits and drawing them in. Spomming loads of bait I don't think is achieving what you want because the carp aren't actually eating a lot. But in summer, that would work. But that's my 5 tips. Comment below if you've got any extras, if you disagree with me or anything. It's good to get your feedback. So yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.